Hey guys, and welcome back to Up Next. I'm Savannah.
And I'm Cass.
And although Cass tried to kill me off last week, I'm back and better than ever.
And I sure am glad to have you back, Savannah.
Well, thank you. Instead of news of the week, we actually have news of the day because it's been a pretty big day with the announcement of the federal election. Our reporter River was joined in studio by Dr. Anthony Ashbolt to chat a little bit more about what's coming up in the next 5 weeks and the predictions for the election.
Anthony Ashbolt, thank you for joining us and all our those political junkies out there.
Pleasure.
It's obviously a big day. The election's been called. What will make this one different?
Well, this one is shaping up as an election between two visions of what sort of a society Australia should be in the future. One vision that seems to be much more oriented to health and education and spending in the public arena for the public good. The other that is seen as harking back to memories of Australia in the 1950s and the good old days where Australia sort of plugs on in the way it has been done, with conservative rule existing as it has existed, and policies appealing very much to those who have benefited from the economic growth that Australia has experienced over many years. Labor is addressing much more broad general social concerns than the Liberal Party, so the election is shaping up as a contest between two very different worldviews, and that makes it profoundly important.
And what issues do you think will sway people's votes this election?
Well, clearly you always have hip pocket issues. You have areas like taxation and so on that are going to be important, and some people will be attracted to the Liberal Party's future promises of taxation, will be attracted to the general economic framework, the promise of a surplus, and remember it is just a promise. It's not, we're not in surplus at the moment, but others will be attracted more to Labor's vision regarding spending in the area of health, in particular, of course, the cancer funding, and also education, and also appealing to those on lower incomes in terms of taxation reform, and instituting, call them taxes on the wealthy if you like, but some form of wealth redistribution, which sees some money going towards those who are needier in society. And that's why the division is playing out in quite interesting ways. And there are other aspects as well, and I think climate change is clearly an important area, and the Labor Party has put its vision forward in a much more coherent way than the coalition.
The seat of Gilmore in our own backyard, shaping up to be a big battleground this election.
Sure.
What insights can you give into that? The outcome?
It looks on paper as if the swing should continue to the Labor Party, and that's reinforced by the fact that the Liberal Party have brought in a star candidate, but someone who is not necessarily going to do very well within the electorate, because they have some roots within the electorate, not strong roots, and they're regarded by certain the person who's been put in there is regarded as an imposition, if you like, and so there is an independent Liberal as a consequence. Is also a national standing. Now, that there are two ways that could go. That can split the Conservative vote, and that's something to watch out for. But it depends if preferences are distributed between all of those candidates. It could, in a systematic way, it could harm the chance of the Labor candidate. I tend to think, however, that despite the peculiarity of so many people sort of lining up in the opposition forces, that the Labor candidate Fiona Phillips will emerge victorious, because she fits very well into the profile that Labor is trying to present in terms of caring for families and caring for public education, having been a TAFE teacher herself and so on. She is part of that general narrative that the Labor Party has established about the society of the future that it wants to put policies in place for.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about this election that we're now in?
No, but the early days of not in general terms, but the early days of the contest have highlighted some peculiarities already, and that is the Liberal Party's head in the sand approach to electric cars, for example. Quite a bizarre response to Labor's policy regarding electric cars, when you just need to look internationally to find out that the tendency that Labor is pointing towards has been embraced and fully embraced in policy terms in Europe, for example. And the fact that the coalition, and in particular certain Liberal representatives, haven't recognised that is really quite surprising. And the idea, and they put it in terms of our weekends being stolen and our shopping trolleys being stolen, that came from Tony Abbott, and so on. It's simply bizarre. And if that's the way the contest is going to shape up, it could be very interesting.
Dr. Ashbolt, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be a really interesting 5 weeks leading up to the election, and it's something that a lot of people are being tuned out by, but it's something that we should definitely tune into.
Yeah, something that everyone really needs to stay across, I think. And this week we have a special edition of Learning Latin America, Newswise.
Hola! So things have been a little bit complicated in Latin America lately. So for today's show, we are learning about the other side of the globe through the news. So on this Wednesday, the former president of Peru, Pedro Pablo Kuczynski, handed himself over to the police after a judge ordered his detention for 10 days. This decision is part of an ongoing investigation of a money laundering scheme involving the Brazilian construction company Odebrecht. Also, on this Wednesday, the UN Security Council held a new meeting to discuss the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela. In a speech, the U.S. Vice President Mike Pence urged the United Nations to revoke Nicolás Maduro's credentials and recognize Juan Guaidó as the legitimate president of the country. China and Russia opposed to the U.S. leader calls. And in Brazil, the far-right president Jair Bolsonaro completed this week 100 days in the office, with the lowest approval rating recorded by a first-time president in power since the country returned to democracy in the 1980s. So yeah, while our news is not looking great at the moment, in the next upcoming shows, I swear we'll be looking at the amazing things Latin America has to offer, like music, food, and culture. So stay tuned. Ciao!
It sounds like there's a lot going on in Latin America at the moment. I think we have to thank our lucky stars that in Australia our only political problem right now is talking about electric cars.
Yes, definitely. And continuing on the note of vehicles, there's actually a lot of important research going on at the University of Wollongong at the moment that could possibly change the face of the mining industry. That's up next on The Weekly.
We're joined by Dr. Casey to tell us a little bit more about a project that he and his team are working on today. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
So you and your team have received funding to develop a battery-powered vehicle for underground mining.
Yes.
Could you just explain to us how this vehicle will work?
Yes, the intention of this project is to introduce these battery power machines with the hope that to replace all the diesel machines in underground coal mines in Australia particularly. And the machines is used to transport the personnel and materials from the surface to the underground coal, and it has been heavily utilized for the past decades to transport hundreds of miners and tons of materials to underground on a daily basis. And with as the emissions control is getting stricter and the health of the mines worker is of great concern, and it's proven that the diesel fumes is carcinogenic. That means it's causing it's one of the main reasons that the underground miners got high risk of cancer. And we are looking at the ways to replace the diesel machines. And currently, as the technology evolves and the battery is getting more mature, we think there is a time to introduce this technology into our underground coal miners.
Fantastic. So as you said that traditionally vehicles used to transport coal are diesel powered,
Yes.
And they can cause a lot of health problems.
That's
and so
right.
how will this battery powered vehicle kind of change that and combat that?
Well, a battery powered vehicle, as we know, is an environmental friendly vehicles. It doesn't release any pollution gases, and it's a 100% clean and reliable energies. So as the vehicle drive into the underground mines, it does not release any emission at all, and it's quiet, and is most importantly is very efficient as compared to the diesel power. So it's not only in terms of the cost saving and higher productivity, but it's also to improve the health, because we all know that electric vehicles does solve the problem of these pollutions, particularly in underground coal environment where the space is confined, and the diesel fume, there's only way to reduce the diesel fumes through the ventilations. But obviously, as more and more vehicles come into the pictures, and the ventilation power is getting burdened by all the fumes, so people are looking at ways to replace these machines in the next few years.
Yeah, so it's really great for the miners' health, but also for the environment too.
Yes.
Yeah. So and what will it mean for coal mining? Like, what will these vehicles? How will they help the coal mining industry?
It will have a tremendous boost to the productivity of the coal mines, especially and of course at the same time they reduce the cost on the ventilations. They reduce the cost to service the diesel machines, and diesel machine is very expensive to be kept, and every year they spend a lot of monies, if not millions, would be hundreds of thousands per vehicles to replace the diesel filters and to do a lot of maintenance on the diesel machine. So all this is come to the cost and productivities, and with the electric fully electric battery powered vehicles, this cost will be saved tremendously, and at any one time there will be more vehicle can operate inside the underground coal without limiting the number of vehicles in and out as of current stage. And this, in this case, I think is a breakthrough for all the coal mines, in addition to the health, of course.
Awesome. So it sounds really useful towards coal mines, but obviously coal mining is kind of starting to be phased out a little bit for renewable energy sources. So how will this project work if coal mining starts to be phased out? Is it viable in other areas?
Yes.
Energy sources.
The progress to build the whole machine from scratch actually is in a way to train the local researchers, especially the Australians, to get to know the technology of this field, because battery is a very useful technology, and to use it in a proper and more efficient way, everyone hopes that you can get a big part of the profit from the application of batteries. So we started with a very difficult and tough applications in order to build the experience and also the skills of our researcher, and the way they interact with the engineers and the teams. So although the coal mines will be phased out in next 10 years, 15 years or 20 years, but this is a long way to go actually, and we have done enough harm for the coal miners for the past many years. So we try to do as much as we could to introduce this one, to reduce the risk and the health risk of the coal miners, and at the same time to build the reputation of using a clean energy, not only for coal mine. Hopefully it can expand to the surface mine, the metal mines, the hard rock mines, and also to the electric vehicle as well.
Yeah, that's really wonderful.
Yep.
And what will this funding help? How will this funding help you in building these vehicles?
This funding is extremely useful to us, because it will definitely get us to the finishing line, if not. And it has been a huge challenge once when we started this project. Actually, 2 years ago from a co-services funding, and we noticed along the way that actually we need more funding to support this ongoing project, because it involves much more technical and much more challenges that we have that we never anticipated before. So in order to overcome all these challenges and hurdles, definitely this amount of funding will boost up our confidence, and we can use it to hire more engineers, to keep more teams, and particularly to do a lot more testing before we can really use this vehicle properly in underground coal.
What kind of timeline do you expect to complete this project? Because obviously coal mining is kind of being phased out, and like you said, you want to get this out now. So what kind of timeline are we expecting for it?
We expected this in between 2 to 3 years. We try very hard to make it work in 2 to 3 years time. Yeah.
Awesome. So it all sounds wonderful. Hope everything goes well, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now onto something that's quite close to our hearts here in the Illawarra, Chloe Saxby and her battle with disappearing white matter disease. $150,000 has been handed over towards the research for a cure.
10-year-old Chloe Saxby is fighting a race against the clock. Vanishing white matter disease has seen her condition deteriorate over the past 6 months. But thanks to the Great Illawarra Walk, over $150,000 has been raised to find ways to treat the disease.
Unfortunately, Chloe is not able to walk, so one of the things that can happen is as the white matter degenerates, it affects a whole load of different processes, and the brain controls our movement, as well as obviously lots of other things as well.
While there is currently no cure for VWMD, the Illawarra Health and Medical Research Institute has spent the last year testing different drug options to find a potential treatment for Chloe's disease.
The next phase of the research is to focus in on those drugs and see if we can identify the best possible ones that can protect the cells against this disease.
Very little is known about VWMD because it is so rare, affecting only 7 people in Australia and only 200 worldwide. Chloe's mum Nairee says the $150 funding couldn't have come at a more critical time, and it won't be the last fundraiser for the disease. Preparations have already begun to continue the walk in 2020.
If a cure could be found by Emory, that would be absolutely amazing, and that's what we're hoping to achieve. If they can find a cure, that would be the best news ever.
Aidan Day, UOWTV Multimedia.
It's really great to see what our community can do when they come together for such a great cause.
Yeah, and $150,000 is such an achievement as well. And continuing on the theme of community, there's an exhibition happening right now that's bringing together the artists in Port Kembla.
Millimetres can make all the difference when it comes to art, as these 5 women prepare for their Port Kembla exhibition opening tomorrow. Thread 4 is the 4th instalment of this series, showcasing the year's work of 5 local artists. The women have collaborated together since 2015, exhibiting works that range from paintings, sculptures, drawings, ceramic pieces and jewellery. Thread began as a showcase of the Friends' work, but after success has now turned into an annual exhibition.
The idea of the title Thread is because our artistic practice is what basically binds us together as a group.
All 5 women create art alone and find that the exhibition enables them to collaborate as artists, but also acts as a chance for them to reconnect.
So really, it's been most of the last year that we have effectively worked towards this show. So it's a major undertaking for us.
The artists say, although their works all look different, they come together to make a cohesive exhibition and space for the public to enjoy. The artwork displayed at the exhibition is for sale, but they find that it is not their main prerogative with the show.
The major thing is you've got this body of work and you want to share it with people. In my ideal world, people would look at my work and be moved by it.
In its 4th year, Thread has showcased that this exhibition really is about artists coming together. The artists find that the show has been a success in the past because of how well they work together.
It's always fun. We always enjoy each other's company and work well together.
The exhibition will be held at Red Point Artists Association in Port Kembla from the 11th to 28th of April. Ella Molania, UOWTV Multimedia.
In the latest Revealing Wollongong segment, where's Maddie today?
I'm not too sure. How about we find out?
This week on Revealing Wollongong, we thought we'd explore the beautiful Botanical Gardens, which is just across the road from the main bus stop at UOW, so literally in our own backyard. There are so many amazingly beautiful places around the park, and I definitely think it should be your next go-to study spot. Konnichiwa. Kono Nihon bashi wa niwa ni arimasu. Sugoi desu ne. The Kawasaki Bridge was restored in early 2000 and is actually a symbol of friendship between Wollongong and our sister city in Japan, Kawasaki.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking, Cass?
I think I am thinking what you're thinking, Savannah.
I think we should have a picnic down at the Botanic Gardens with some pizza pinwheels.
Yes, let's find out how to make those with 60-second snacks.
Hi, my name's Liv, this is 60 Second Snacks, and today we're making pizza pinwheels.
You will need mozzarella cheese, olives, a tomato base made of garlic, tomatoes, salt, pepper, and a bit of oregano, some ham, and some puff pastry.
So to start off, we've preheated our oven to 180. So first off, we've got our tomato base. Spoon some of our tomato base on. So we have a nice even-ish sort of layer. Now we're going to add some ham. So with this, you can make this however you like. If you're a vegetarian, you can add some mushrooms in place of ham. You can add some Parmesan cheese if you really want to. What else? Some artichokes, pineapple if you're into ham and pineapple pizzas. So you can really add whatever you want to these. I'm going to add the mozzarella all over. These make for a great after-school snack or after-uni snack. Could be better than eating a packet of chips, but also maybe not. I don't really know. Then we'll place some olives on. I like olives, so I'm probably going to use this whole bowl. I preferably like black olives, but all we have is calamatas. But that's fine, I'm willing to negotiate. So now we have our toppings all on. This is what this looks like, a bit sad if I'm being honest. But now we're going to roll. Righto, so what we're going to do is we're going to roll them. So I think I should have taken the backing off this to begin with. But we're just going to see how we go. And we're just going to roll. Oh my God. Oh, this is painful. These are quite loaded. I don't think I'm used to having such large and in charge pinwheels. Okay. Oh no.
It's all right.
Yes, don't be alarmed if this happens. It is completely fine. Okay, well, once you have your enchilada, you're gonna cut it. Then you're just gonna cut them into little bits. Oh no. Okay, now that we've cut our snails, oh no, they look terrible. Well, this is underwhelming. This is questionable at this point. Why do you watch me? This has been diabolical. Okay, now that that's done, so we're gonna put them in the oven for about 15 minutes to start, and then we'll see how they're progressing. Hopefully they'll be okay and look much better than what they are. Oh no. Smell delicious! Ooh, look out!
Oh.
They're very underwhelming. But they smell good, that's the main thing.
Ooh. Nice and crispy. Nice.
Thanks for watching 60 Second Snacks. We'll see you next week.
You're a better cook than I am, Liv, but I'll definitely give it a go.
It sounds good. Well, if you're feeling like you don't know what's happening in the music scene in Wollongong this week, Sam's got you covered with the earworm.
We are back at it here at the Earworm with another batch of sweet gigs to preview. Some out-of-towners as well as a smattering of local legends are on show this week, so let's crack in. First up is Strawberry Boogie at Unibar, the night of nights for fashionistas, artistes, music enthusiasts and all creatives alike. The Boogie is a monthly affair and a whole bunch of fun. Quote, "For those unfamiliar with the Boogie, we have two core aims: to celebrate the melting pot of creativity that exists within our community, and to provide a platform for this creativity to thrive." Tonight's event features music from colossal cool cat Mickey Kojak and his band bringing filthy beats, lovable locals Good Lecker, smooth Sydney siders Papa Pilko and the Bin Rats, and Horsing Around and Hopetown. So get down on it, guys, and get your ticks, as in the past these have been known to sell out. And if this isn't for you, then maybe some reggae rock infusion at Rad Bar is more your flavour. Ren and the Rude Boys will be headlining tonight with some help from Ocean, Ray Friday and Plants, so make sure you choose wisely. And a triple threat will have you scissors paper rocking for where to get your music fix on Saturday, with some stellar events taking place. Your local record legends, Music Farmers, are hosting their annual record store day, and as well as stocking some exclusive releases, they'll also have live music on offer, courtesy of Totally Unicorn, Velvet Elevator and Enfant Terrible, kicking off at 4 p.m. Meanwhile, the Bedwetting Bad Boys will be taking over Dicey Riley's for your weekly punk, rock and roll and alternative fix, thanks to the crew at Yours and Ours, and as well as Rip Society. The Baby and Circus Variety Act will also be performing, with things kicking off at 9:30, so put it in your calendar. Also, it's free. And last but not least for Saturday night is Neon Tetra at Rad Bar. These psych rockers have turned plenty of heads with their debut EP Pollen, and are proud to release their new single Used to Be. Supports for this one include Tex, Hopetown Again and Slinky Red. And the Sunday sesh at North Gong this week features some outstanding visiting and local bands, all free of charge. Headlining are Melbourneites Baker's Eddy, along with San May, Nelapot and Droves. Head down from 4 p.m. to see what all the fuss is about and finish off your weekend right. And last but not least for the week is Kurt Vile, gracing the Unibar stage on Tuesday night. The American singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist and record producer is critically acclaimed worldwide and has been immense over the last decade. With no further introduction needed, Kurt will be bringing the usual violators with him and will be supported by RVG. So that's all for this week, guys. Be sure to get out and amongst it. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for that, Sam. Unfortunately, there won't be a show for the next 2 weeks, but we'll see you right after the mid-session break.
Have you got any plans for the break, Savannah?
Well, it's actually my birthday.
Oh, cool. I'll be waiting for my invitation then. Thank you so much for watching today, guys, and we'll see you again after the break.
See ya!
Bye.